Okay, everybody, thank you for coming. The first thing to do is to call the meeting to order at 6:34. Our regular meeting of March 22nd, or not, this is not a regular meeting, it's a special meeting, March 22nd, 2023. It's my meeting. First thing is to just, the only item on the agenda is discussion of possible action regarding ARPA applications. Oh, yeah. So you should be on camera so people can see what the heck you're doing. My cue cards. Okay, so last meeting, the only reason we're having this meeting is we're not able to, we scheduled things a little too tightly and we're not able to get to this. There's only a couple items on here that I want to make a decision on tonight, or I'd like to, if you guys agree. Yep. But there, you know, it doesn't hurt us to go over where we're at, what we're thinking, and all that kind of thing. So we can go through what I'd like to suggest. Let me tell you, the news is we have received another application from the Nest. Another? No, an application. Oh, it's the first application for the Nest. It's another application. Yeah, that was. They're asking for $25,000. Really, it's a capital request because it's to install wheelchair accessible mechanized doors at the entrance, the new entrance of the new addition. So we'll put that on our list of requests, and we can talk about it either now. We can ask Jane and you guys. I don't know. Did you get a copy of this? I think you did. Yeah. So we can, you know, if you've had a chance to read it, we can talk about it now a little bit, if you would like.
I don't have it here in front of me, but I did look at it.
Yep.
Before yesterday's.
It's a good request. What I'm thinking about with this, and we've had a request now from the Nest and from Pandemonium, our nonprofits here in town. I have one, thank you. Nonprofits here in town, and I'm not sure. I think we've got some money that we put aside for businesses, not for profits, for grants. And I'm leaning that both of these applications should go into that. I'm not sure. They both have some capital items is really what they're looking for. But I think because of their nonprofits, the business and nonprofits, I think that's the right place for them. I don't know what you guys think about that.
You know, I can't say yay or nay for Pandemonium because of my connection. Yeah. But I believe that, you know, that and the Nest probably should go into that larger pot, you know, specifically that we have set aside for that. I think that might be the appropriate place. Okay. And whether or not the amounts are, you know, whatever the amounts are, but that's where I think they might be an appropriate place.
I like that idea. Also, the only question we have is that we're going to do a capital improvement property that they don't own. Right? Don't they rent?
That's true. That's right.
That's
true. That's right.
So they rent it.
That's true.
We're going to put a capital improvement into the landlord's property.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh.
And ultimately, he or she is going to benefit. God forbid the Nest closes in a year, 2 years, whatever. That guy or gal who owns it got a capital improvement.
Yeah. No, that's a good thought.
You know, again, I look at all different angles. So
yeah, that's a very good point.
And Jim, you could answer this question. I think you're speaking directly to the Nest.
Yeah, that's much.
But I think Pandemonium could be considered the same thing. As I think the ownership is separate from the business, is not.
Yeah,
but I understand there's a marriage there.
Yeah, there's a marriage there, but
it's kind of the same thing.
They put capital improvement on something that is currently a nonprofit.
Yeah.
But if either one of the establishments close,
move to another.
Yeah, whatever.
I never.
That's a good thought.
It's always been in the back of my mind that they own it.
Here's an offer response to that, which maybe we shouldn't do, but my immediate response to that is that might be okay because and we'll have an answer on this in a week or two when we can ask the fellow that I'm hoping will agree to manage this for us.
Yep.
But we can explain or describe or define what the grants or requests are going to be confined to or not. It could be a simple request for funds, for lost funds. It could be a request for capital funds,
Right.
it could be a request for staffing, it could be a request for whatever it is, it's a grant.
Mhm.
So it could be simply for whatever use they want to put it
Mhm.
to. Now, I'm not sure really that the nest needs that ramp, or that there's other things I'm sure that they would like to use it for. So I think that's a good thought. Let's keep that in mind, but let's back this up and back the conversation up a little bit to the what we just were talking about prior to your point. If we move this to that other category, then that can give us a little bit more time to figure out how we can define that. We can get some advice from the fellow who I hope is going to help us as to how we can define these things. And we also need to talk about amounts that we're going to award.
Right.
The we put $200,000 aside on a quick assessment of the businesses that we have in town that may or may not have suffered. We don't know how many applications we're going to get. We don't know how many of those applications are going to be justifiable.
Right.
All of that.
That was leading up to my second question. Yep. We have $200,000 in there, and there's 3 applicants. Each one can get a third of the 200.
Yep.
Do we have 7 applicants? And each one have 7 ways. That I'm just, or do we gonna have a baseline or a ceiling that's we're gonna give X?
Well, my vision of this and my knowledge of what other communities have done is that they have set a fixed cap, if you will. There's this number of this much. This is the cap of how much money we have.
The pot. Yeah.
We have every application can apply for, and towns have done 10,000, towns have done 20, towns have done 30. I've seen one town that did 50,000. So that's the cap of what they can apply for. I think the use of the fund in some communities anyway is not defined. It's you just show that you had a loss and you can get up to this amount. Or a need.
Or how they, if it's more of a
How you
capital
do
thing
it.
versus a loss.
To recover. Well, that goes into
This would be kind of a capital type of thing for,
Yeah.
as far as doors and ramps.
Yep.
It's not a loss.
Right. So
I'd rather have them come to us and say, hey, we lost X number of dollars, like the historical study lost revenue coming in.
right.
And we made a capital improvement.
And it could be, I'm not trying to put any words in anybody's mouth, but they could say that we were fundraising for that, or we were trying to do it, and we couldn't get the money to do X project because of COVID.
Yeah, there's no question.
Yeah.
I know that they were trying to do a lot of
Yeah.
they lost. So I think they'll be able to show that they lost certain amounts of money. But this kind of thing, I see it more readily for restaurants or for shops who can show, here's the books, the 2 years before, here's the books that year, the 2 years,
Exactly.
But I think
Maybe throw another wrench in the system is the people that got COVID money.
Well, that's another question. We had one business that went out of business, got the money and then closed.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Because again, there's a lot of fraud throughout everywhere in the country.
Yep. So for now,
I've heard of a story where some businesses tried to get the PPP and didn't get it.
oh yeah.
So it's one extreme or the other. Yeah.
No, I had an awful lot of conversations. That's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
So
But I'm all for helping people, but don't keep going back to the cover. When there's other people that probably need it more.
So I'm going to suggest that we pull these back until we maybe get some further instruction and direction from but for now, they're still in the pot, they're still there, but we may push them into this, see how we define it. There are 2 items that are really from one application, if you will. The Deep River Fire Department has put a list together that asks for $220,000. The way things are going, who knows, that's probably $250,000 at this point. But that list it has two items on it that are in capital preparing our budget right now. The SCBA replacement, which is a request for 60,000, and the structural firefighting gear 10 sets, which was 40,000, but in the budget, I think it's 50. Yeah, so those prices have gone up since they put this list together. The reason that I want to talk about those individually is because those two are they're in our capital budget, they're in our capital improvement plan. And this year, you guys have been at the workshops, you're aware of the hit that people are taking from the schools, really, which starts us off in a if we can pull 110,000 out of that budget, that's a significant amount of money, and it will help us get our mill rate down, keep our mill rate as low as we can. We had a good work finance meeting last night. I think we've got some good ideas on how we're going to get it. There's still be an increase, but it will be a less of a hit. But this is a big part of that. So my thinking on it is separate this request by items, because there are items in here that UTD I have no interest in funding. Some of the other things, the electronic door locks, I think is a good idea, but it's not an emergency, all that kind of thing. Although Joyce certainly wants the electronic door locks.
You're here.
So maybe we can join forces to do that together at some point. But I think those two warrants a conversation, and I'd like to open up that for you guys to talk about or think about or comment on.
I'm gonna stay on my stance. I said it 3 times, I'm gonna say it a 4th time. I have asked for a Excel spreadsheet of when they purchase these and when they're up for renewal. And here you are, 4th time I'm talking about it. There's no one here to hear me. But again, I feel it's not, you aren't putting a man on space. If you bought a turnout gear, whatever it may be, a air tank, on March 22nd, 2023, it's a 10-year life expectancy. It's not too hard to figure it out. Type those numbers in. Either A, they don't have that data for us, or B, they want to get new stuff that's not ready for replacement. I'll move forward with it, but I'm not going to come off my horse because again, we still haven't seen or heard about a $125,000 check that they promised us last year. So again, that's I'll move forward against my better judgment because again, I've asked for these simple tasks. It's not too hard. They want me to make the spreadsheet, I'll make the spreadsheet. It's not too hard.
Okay.
But again, I'm not gonna hold up something that has to be done. I support it coming out of the capital budget and help us on the mill rate 100%.
That's the thing that's swaying me over.
No, me too.
Is, get it out of the capital budget, try to minimize the mill rate increase, because there is going to be an increase. Minimize that burden on every taxpayer in the town, and get the firemen. I don't have any doubt that they need it. I would like to see the same information that Dwayne wants to see. I think it would be good for their organization as a whole, regardless of ARPA or yearly budgets or whatever. I think that they as an organization should have better accounting or whatever. But I think the SCBA's and those type of life-saving devices for the firemen are needed. And God forbid one of our houses burns up or somebody, they gotta go in there. And like I said before, I was an interior firefighter a long time ago. And when that low oxygen alarm goes off, it's a pretty scary thing.
I'm sure.
That's not my point.
No, I know.
My point is documentation.
I agree. Yep.
It's a simple, again, I support all of them with what they need. I'm 100% for safety, but it's a simple question, a simple request to ask for documentation.
And like I said, I think it would be good for their organization as a whole to have that for SCBA's or
every piece of
equipment they got, from fire trucks to fire approved stocks, if there are such a thing. They should be able to have better accounting for it, so that when we ask for it, or finance asks for it during a normal budgetary thing or art thing or whatever, that they can go, there it is.
So I think it goes hand in hand with the fire study that should be showing up. To have this documentation to support what that documentation tells us, really will be helpful moving forward when they have other additional requests.
Well, again, we probably won't be here by the time these new ones are expired, but at least if there's some sort of documentation that they know that March 22nd, 30, they're expiring, the Board of Finance and Board of Selectmen can at least
Start the ball rolling.
where you're not getting whacked with big hits.
No, I get it, and it was a good request then, it's a good request now. And I think at one of the meetings that they were at last month, they indicated that they had that started, so that's good. There has to be a modicum of trust between the two when those guys come to us with requests. We have to have some trust that that they're not making things up.
Right.
And I do have that.
Yeah.
And I do, but there's also needs and wants.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, and there's a constant stress between finding funds for what isn't what they need, which there's nothing on this list that they don't need. I don't think, but these are safety, and the two things that are really pushing my thinking on it is that they're important safety components that are very important to safety, and moving this forward takes a big piece of stress off of our upcoming budget.
And that's
I'll reiterate my thing again. I support taking on a budget to help the taxpayers. I support the state 100%.
Yeah.
I don't support their documentation.
Yeah, no, I would-
Pretty simple. I like to feed them, me always stop.
yeah, no, I hear it. It's a good thought, and we'll continue to ask for that.
Continue to want to see the $125,000 check coming in.
And there are, yeah, absolutely. So there are other things on their agenda or on their list, but I don't think any of those are to the point where we should rush them through. I don't know if you guys.
well, it's the SCBA's and is it just the SCBA?
FCBA and the around here.
For 110.
Yeah. That, I think, the door locks is a big one. The bailout sets is something that I just learned about at the last meeting that they came to and kind of explained what that is. I think those are important, and they are being an important part of the safety, but they're not in our capital budget right now. I think
And how much was that?
that's 25,000, probably 30,000 at this point. But we can go right down the list and see if it's something that you want to put in or something that you want to hold off on. But the bailout sets is they need 30, and they're at this point we're 835 each. But I would expect that those are a higher cost now. I don't have a new estimate on this.
How much was that about?
That was 25,000. If we were thinking of moving that forward, I would move it forward for up to 30. Or maybe they don't need 30, they need 15, maybe it's about 15. I don't know, that might be a question to ask. The Supervac 18-inch PPV Milwaukee, that was 4,000. Milwaukee battery tools was 3,000. The door locks, as I said, was 13,500. And replacement extrication, we don't have. But the other thought that we might want to think about moving is for the Winthrop station, the generator and new electrical service. That might be something.
What was that?
But that was 23.
Just my feelings are the SCBA turnout here in the bailout equipment. I think it would satisfy my immediate, generator could be a capital expense in next year's budget. I mean, having that generator there. I don't know if they have one or it's not, I don't know what the status of it is.
I don't think there is one up there.
Yeah.
I think we need one up there.
Yeah. But, as far as the need and the want, I would put more, the SCBA is a need and generator. energy efficiency and all that kind of stuff's a lot. That's the way I would look at it.
Yeah, no, I agree, the generator, frankly, the generator and the electronic doors, those are capital expenditures, that make for better use of the
Oh, yeah.
buildings,
Yeah.
And this is a unique opportunity, all of us, and we're trying very hard to find that fine line between capital and social and economic.
And at the same time, trying to, in a bad budget year,
Right.
make appropriate placement of those things to minimize.
Yep.
Or maximize, whatever,
So, I'm fine moving forward with just the two. I'm also fine with further conversation if you want to have them in for more conversation.
I make a motion to, approve the SCBA in the turnout gear, 110 plus the bailout equipment for 25 for a total of 135. To be, put, toward our funds.
My wheels are spinning, so give me a second.
Yeah, no, I think that.
And if you guys want more time to think about it, I can withdraw the motion. I just figured
That's okay.
that's
We'll
where
talk about it.
Yeah. Yep.
In a second.
Until,
We kind of went a little out of order, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Thing, right? We're just talking about this.
Well, if we're just in the discussion phase, why not I'll just,
I'll leave it there.
All right.
We can do it in a second.
I'm good with all three of them. But that's $135,000, right? I'm willing to go no higher than $150,000. I'll give $150,000. We'll give an extra $15,000, and you use it how you want. You want to put it towards the generator, and you guys pick up the rest of the generator. That's fine. Or we stay at $135,000. Or if they want to put it towards.
No, that works. That gets in the doors.
So I 150 is my max.
Yeah.
Or I'll go back to 130.
no, I'd amend my motion to make it, $150,000, not to exceed $150,000, and they can get the things that they need.
Because we go back to the budget here, and yes, things have gone up, but we're getting unless you guys chopped it down last night, and so I apologize, but we got $4,000 for fire equipment and supplies going up.
Yep.
So there's, it's $26,000 budget there.
No, I know. We did, the only thing we worked on last night was the vehicle. Vehicle maintenance.
So I
All right, let's
do a
think about
curveball
that.
there, but
No, that's okay. It's not a bad thought. The only thing I want to be clear on the motion as we move it forward to Board of Finance next week is that the money is the 135 is directed towards SCBA, structural gear, and bailout sets.
Yeah, and
The other 15 is for them to determine whether they want to, the electronic doors is probably where they'll go. And that covers any increase that might be in that.
I can clarify the motion.
Yeah, that's great.
That we approve $150,000 from the bailout fund, or from the bailout fund. I was looking at bailout from the fire.
Yep.
From the ARPA funds, 110,000 for the SCBA and turnout gear, 25,000 for the bailout equipment, and 15,000 for a total of 150,000. That 15,000 to be determined by them as to how they use it on their want list.
You got that?
I'll second it.
Okay, is there any more discussion? Don't put for your living. All right, all those in favor? Okay. Let's go through the rest that we have here that we, if we want to stop where we are. I'm actually looking at the communities in the COG who have determined not to contribute that. And I think I'm in favor. I would recommend to us that we remove that, really take that right off the list.
The river cog.
The river COG. If they have something that they need some funds for, we can work on it.
On a case by case basis.
Yeah.
It's fine.
And I would like to suggest that Deep River Social Services, after some conversation with other communities that are our size, I think I might have been a little ambitious with the need for a full-time. So I'd like to cut that down to 65,000, and really basically we'll staff that place for 20 hours as opposed to 40. And that will eliminate any need for any kind of.
How many hours?
20.
20. For 65,000?
That's just in the proposal side. I'm not suggesting to move that forward yet.
But that's
That's the thought, just so we got an idea of where the funds are. What do you guys think? Do you want to talk over the public library's request? Go ahead, Joyce, do you have a question?
How many years?
So,
and that is, you know, the caveat that has been brought up every time is that when they go and put those.
oh yeah, after the
The
2 years.
there's no guarantees and.
I actually think that we will discover that 20 hours, it might be a little high, but it will be head and shoulders better than what we're offering now.
Mhm.
And then we can determine whether we can
Well,
afford to up the hours a little bit. Maybe we can share, like we share right now with Chester, and we can get someone to cover both towns. And get someone, you know, full-time for both, between both
Yeah.
towns.
So we
But
don't
that's
need,
something
we
we
don't
can
need benefits, benefits will be.
benefits, correct, yeah.
You know, and a lot of these, you know, because they're post-COVID requirements and then the impact during COVID and all that, and one would hope that, you know, we're always gonna need social services and also, we're always gonna need all these programs that maybe the demand for COVID related will go down, thus the demand for having those people might not necessarily be there anymore, but again, that's
Well, that's the hope.
yeah, and then in 2 years, and like Dwayne has said from the beginning, it's just let everybody know going in.
Oh, no.
This is a one-time.
100%.
Yep.
This is a temporary solution.
Right.
And at the end of those 2 years, we can reevaluate and see what we're doing.
We started off tonight with how much money? Do we know?
Basically 50% of what we will discuss.
If I can put that on.
Oh, I think, yeah, there we go, 666,000. Right on the thing,
Yes, she didn't print the last one.
okay.
666.
Yes.
$568,000.
Minus 65.
If we do that one, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just trying to.
Yeah. Yep.
Mhm. I remember, we have moved the,
Parking lot, right?
parking lot.
It's 75 a month.
Yep. Hasn't been, you know, voted on.
Yeah. We're down to about 386. We're gonna do the town, we're gonna do the town for 200,
Yep. We're at 16.
that comes you down to 186, right?
Yep.
You had a lot.
Hmm.
So I'm just trying to.
No,
Absolutely.
it's all important.
I'm saying, we'll get into it,
Absolutely.
and then it gives us an idea of where, you know, where we're at.
Yep. Those are important. And we can, you know, go through the list here of what's still left.
Well, the biggest dollar amount is, as far as an individual, well, besides the board structuring one, would be the library.
Mhm. That's the biggest request.
Yeah.
Other than that,
Well, then there's already the 200 and then there's the possibility of.
yeah,
My pet peeve,
yeah, me too,
my want.
yeah, me too,
The wood chipper?
yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's something that we've been, as long as I've been here. we've been
Well, it's-
having to rent and when-
Yeah, and it's,
It really
I
is.
look at it as a public safety thing,
It is,
you know, it is, will it be used during everyday maintenance of the town? Yes, but when if it hits the sham and the trees are coming down and James Howard is out and all these guys are out, and our guys can have a chipper to clear a road, so the emergency services and all that can get in, police, fire, anything else, just concerned relatives,
Yeah.
checking on the elderly or whatever. If we have a device like this that can help clear roads, then
Mhm.
that's a no-brainer as far as I'm concerned.
The Middlesex Health was, what,
Yeah, what she just brought us in, they've revised their application, I haven't had a chance to review it. It's come down, it's down to 10,000.
Okay, well, that's
Yeah.
probably an important one.
It is. It is. So you did the math, what was your number?
186 right now.
Okay. And that takes out,
It takes out the fire department.
Yeah.
65,000 for social services, 75 for park and rec, 200 for the town,
yeah, okay,
and we got 186.
okay,
And then if we take 10 for behavioral health, that's 176,
yep,
and then we slice and dice.
yep, no, that's right. And I wanted to, we've all got our wish lists, and I've been beginning to work with one of our residents, Brett Thompson, who is his position is the Arts Alliance, he's the director of the Connecticut Art Alliance for the Arts.
Okay.
And we've been working on trying to come up with some other ways that we can use this money to benefit the whole community in ways that are not capital expenses or services. And the arts is something that is near and dear to my heart, that's for sure. And we can show that there are communities that it helps with the economic development, it helps brings people into the community. And we're not quite ready to bring something forward. I'm not sure if we're close to ready yet, but we're getting there. And we are, I hope that we can find some additional funds in the remaining funds.
Is that above and beyond the 75?
Yeah, it would be, yeah. Because, when we break the totals down, we were looking to do this in, 3 different categories. And I would think that the economic recovery, this would fit into that for the community as a whole. If we took if, for example, we were able to put a mural up on one of the bigger walls in the building, and coming into town, it would be some attraction to the community, and that could dress us up, and Brett could certainly speak better than I can about some of this stuff. Other than my interest, I'm not very eloquent in my descriptions of what we can do with it. But I do hope that you guys will consider that. I'm not sure what we have, but I'd like to put some aside for it.
So I have something notes here.
Yep.
I have 52,000, and then I have $45,000 for library.
Yeah,
I don't know what.
they actually had 2 or 3 different parts of their application. One, and I don't have the breakdown here. One was for to redo the what do you call it, the desk, the circulation desk.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was in there. I don't remember the number for that, but that of all of their requests, I think that is the most important. That one was, that circulation desk is certainly outdated. It's been there since the library was built. So that one, I agree. Another one was for staffing, digital programs. And another request was for an outdoor garden. Yep.
How much was it? Yeah, how much was that? Did they itemize it out?
They did, I just don't find it, and I don't remember what it was.
I remember.
Oh, there it is right there. Boy, we like you down here.
Don't forget, they had their priorities.
Yes, yeah. Thanks, Steve. Move your chair down here. So, on the list that, thank you. I don't know where we would be without him.
Yeah, and every good man is a better woman.
That's for sure. So they had a list of 6 items. The 3 that really were priority, 2 of them were prioritized, was circulation desk improvement. And that was, that's their very number 1 priority. That was 35,000.
Okay.
And staff, addition was their number 2 priority. This is the one that concerns me, it concerns you, and it concerns the board of finance and staff. So, I'm not sure what we think about that, but that was 45,000 stretched out over 3 years. Third on their list was program extension, for programs, digital materials. That was a $3,000 increase. Privacy pod, which I actually kind of think is a good idea. Those are $22,000. But those were number 5 on the priority. And outdoor programming improvements was another 8.
The staff is gonna be part of this. We also have been very vocal about
Yeah.
going forward.
Yeah,
And that's why I asked, if there was any cross training that could be done, instead of additional cross training and things like that.
they do a lot with volunteers over there. But they do have an awful lot of part-time workers too. So I don't know. Part-time youth. What is that? I don't know exactly what YA stands for, but I think that's
Young
youth
adult.
activities.
Young
Young
adult.
adult, thank you. Yeah, right, young adult and adult. Is what they're looking for.
Because they also have some capital requests in our budget.
Yeah.
Windows and.
Yeah.
So there are more wants and needs.
Well, the windows need to get done.
Yeah.
We're addressing that on a
Kitchen.
yearly basis. The kitchen they're looking for is, we're gonna have to go down there and try to make lunch one day and see how we think about it, but, I personally think that the circulation desk is something that should be invested in. And that's their number 1 priority. Whether we move it today, or whether we do some more, conversation about the remaining funds and how we want to spend it, I'm open to either of those.
Well, I'm not making a motion or anything like that, but maybe a dollar amount that could be called out, X dollar amount, 35,000 specifically for circulation desk, and the balance to be prioritized by the ambulance, or the ambulance, by the library. The tone's going off, I was thinking.
Yeah.
$8 amount not to exceed 35, their number 1 requirement. And then they can prioritize the extra money the way they feel better when they're on their hit list possible. That's just a spitball a little here.
Well, that's an interesting thought, and I probably should let you go. My immediate response to that is it works with the fire department. I'm not sure it works here because their number 2 request is for staff, and that's for money stretched out over 3 years. So,
But maybe that's a conversation we have, them saying, okay, we're gonna give you up to X. 35,000, we're gonna back out for the desk, it's gonna leave you Y.
Right.
It's not enough for your staff, or it's just enough for your staff, but you need the staff, what do you want?
Let them
So
prioritize.
it's just prioritize.
yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, if I had to prioritize it, we were gonna say anything, I would prioritize the circulation desk and the privacy funds. Because that gives people an opportunity to go in and do the work. Privately and stuff like that, but it's an idea, it's a good thought. And we can ask
The privacy, we got 22,000.
we could talk to them about, I'm not sure if 22,000 was for 2. one single and one double, plus the chairs. So maybe they get one and see how it works out.
Yeah, that's not, I don't look at that as a need, that's a want, but it's
Well,
it's a want that has some need to it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No, it
Yeah.
makes the library more usable by more people.
Yeah, absolutely.
So besides this list, I probably added. I think we have a couple more requests on the original list here.
That's
Planning and zoning has something, right?
Planning and zoning, yeah, that's on this list.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
No,
It's on the spreadsheet.
right,
It's on the.
planning and
spreadsheet.
zoning asked for 15,000 for a parking study done at the Main Street.
And you thought it would be more.
I actually think that, parking study involvement, is short of what we need. I would like to do some research with, Connecticut Economic Development Resource. And ask them what they might suggest for economic, what would you call it? I don't want to call it revitalization because it's not like downtown is in bad shape, but an economic boost for enhancement for Main Street and for planning purposes, and what that kind of study might be. I know towns oftentimes invest in planning organizations to prepare a schematic of what the vision might be. That works well with our, because right now, a good group of people are preparing our plan of conservation and development for its 10-year renewal or redo. So that is also something to think about. I'd like to talk with the planning commission about, or at least with the planner, with, the consultants that we have, and see what they think about that, and they could probably put a better number together for a more comprehensive study beyond just parking.
Yeah. And then again, you just kind of look at the need and the wants.
Mhm.
Do we need better parking downtown? Yes.
No question.
But we've had this problem for a very long time, and if we don't have the money right now, and it could be budgetary the year after, I'm trying to prioritize.
Yeah.
You do a study, and then nothing happens from it. That's always a concern with any study you do, I'm sure, but,
Main Street is Main Street.
we need more,
You
yeah,
aren't gonna change.
we can't change it to Madison.
We can't widen it.
Can't
Can't
widen
widen it or nothing.
I will say, look,
No.
you can't look at.
It is what it is.
And just think about smarter out there that can design something.
Well, that's what I'm kind of was thinking, is you can study all you want, but it is what it is. Short of acquiring a piece of property someplace where you could put it in the parking, and that, in my eyes, that's nice. We can't reconfigure Main Street. It's not our street, number one, it's a state street, which just adds regulatory things and all that, but I agree that parking is absolutely needed, but what can we do?
Well, that's the purpose for purpose for their request.
Yeah.
Let's find out what the professionals, the folks that are smart, can tell us. I think I've indicated to both of you guys that I'm working with on a property and stuff on town.
Yep.
To try to come up with a private public cooperative effort to put a parking lot.
Kind of like Walgreens, some of the
Yeah,
the parkings at Walgreens are supposed to be for this
they're
building.
dedicated to this building, right?
But with that, what you're thinking there, that's a big chunk of change.
That's a big chunk. That's not gonna come out of our,
No,
but the planning might.
But the planning, the building of it.
No, that's a big chunk of change, but you know what? Get that plan done, and then when all that infrastructure money comes out, that's not just a bridge or a road.
or would that, what they're requesting, is that something that could be apply for a grant?
Absolutely.
Instead of our,
Absolutely,
try and get it from a grant.
Yep.
So that it frees up some of this money,
it can,
so.
we're just the first step of moving
Well,
forward,
yeah,
but I do really think that some professional planning of the downtown would be appropriate. We don't have have to move on any of this right now. But I do think that that's something that I'd ask you guys to consider, and also to continue our conversations about it, because I really think that while the three of us have our own thoughts on what we can and can't do, and the restrictions we have, there are folks out there that have been educated in exactly that, and they can help us with it. You know, and a little bit of money would go a long ways towards that. To your point, it doesn't need to come out of our.
Well, and then I just had a little thought too, you know, we have the proposal for the Heritage and Tourism Court, which was gonna bring people in, and when Jerry was here, 50,000 was the max, and he had different steps. And maybe put some planning and zoning study for parking and whatnot, and you know, and maybe not lump them together, but do a lesser for the Heritage and Tourism, which would free up some money for the parking study. So I know we had like 3 steps. 50 was the max step on the Heritage and Tourism corridor video and presentation that we did. I don't know what anybody else is, you know, I'm just trying to get as much out of the pie as we can.
Yep, no, I
You
know.
know,
I did ref numbers, we were at 186. If we gave the library 80, 35 and 45, I already did the other 45. That leaves us 106. I thought we said that police cruiser was important.
It is important.
So that backs us down to $40,000 left.
you had some discussion last night, I believe, with you know, about the cruiser.
Oh, yeah.
Are we able to?
Well, that
Possibly
needs more conversation. Take delivery of the car that we've already approved. I think this week. So we should see that today. So there's some additional work, and we got to come up with what we're going to put on the sides.
My pet peeve.
Have we looked into, the reason I'm asking because Town of Canterbury does it. They lease their dump trucks with, you know, option to buy at the end.
Yep.
And it just spreads the money out further.
And at the end of the lease, you tell them you can get them out, right?
Right. But they have no maintenance charges on it. Maintenance charges are part of the lease.
I've never heard of that.
Wow.
So I get it.
We looked into that for the fire trucks. That was never part of it. That wasn't part of that deal.
Well, I will gather more information.
Please do.
And then, so where my train of thought is, if they do something like that for the police cruisers.
Yep. No, that's a great thought.
Yeah.
So again, you know, I just.
Yeah, because they do it, and I don't know why it wasn't, but the fire, I'm a guy that used to work for real, his wife used to work for these fire. So I know that they go for that, and I would assume, yeah, you would assume, maybe, or like you said, dump trucks and police cars, all that, and if the maintenance is lumped in.
Just trying to get more bang out of our buck,
Yeah,
that's all.
Absolutely.
and at the end of the lease, then you don't have the big, oh my God, we needed $200,000 for a truck, you just continue on with the lease payment or whatever.
You know what that does for our budget, though? If we look at vehicle maintenance on our budget, we just knocked $10,000 off of that to try to get our budget down.
Yep.
That's a pretty good thing. So I'd like to learn about that as quickly as we can.
Wow.
I have. Yeah, but with him, contracts, I will gather more.
That would be great.
I'll put you in touch with him, you can call him.
That'd be just good, you know.
And then it's no, you know, going from the red box directly.
That's a great idea.
No, I would not have thought about that for a plow truck or a dump truck. So I'd like to see that contract, but that's a good idea. And maybe the police do that. I haven't heard of that before.
It would be more expensive in the end. It's like when you lease a car, if you're continuously leasing, you're continuously paying a $400 payment
But
forever.
if the maintenance and all that is included, it might offset it. I don't know.
Maybe.
No, it's something to.
Well, there's probably a reason that Canterbury selected that versus mine. There might be.
They got 3 brand new trucks,
Yeah.
they got a brand new payloader, and they're no bigger or better than we are.
Right.
And look at where we just borrowed a bunch of money. And we'll be paying on that for quite a while. So those payments are gonna take, they're gonna be paying anyway.
Yeah.
I was never for some at least because all you're doing is or renting, you know, you rent it.
I'm always the same mindset.
Then you got 12 pay stubs and you pay your rent.
Yeah.
But if it smooths our budget out here and you can take money from a maintenance line item or something else. Again, I don't know enough about it, but
No, let's look into it.
the town foreman always said, we should look into it. And again, I've never really talked enough, but I will put you in touch with him.
Well, if they,
Doesn't hurt to talk.
if they'll lease a dump truck for a highway department, I can't imagine they wouldn't lease a police car. So we'll take a look and we'll see what that goes. Yeah, so I don't know, I think I'm reluctant to put that 80,000 towards the library. Only because, and I know this people could pick this up as a little hypocritical, but because I want to do that with our social services. I'm torn on the staffing part of it, and if we give them the 45, that's their number 2 priority. I can't imagine that's not what they're going to get.
Unless we stipulate. The circulation desk and pods.
Well, if we do that, that comes to 60.
Yeah, about 57, 60,000.
You know, if we're looking, you know, if we're at the point now where we're looking at $10,000 to $15,000 requests that are maybe not going to get the money. We're looking for places to take it from. I would think, but maybe that would be what we do as opposed to going with 80. And maybe I need to have more conversation about the staffing down there. I would suggest that this is a move in the right direction by including teens and adults in their programming, because they've been pretty focused for a long time on youth, young people, very young people, children. And while I think we have one of the better libraries in the area when it comes to children's programming. I don't know that we have a whole lot going on over there for adults. So I want to encourage that motion or that movement towards adult programming and young adult programming. But I'm not, again, I get afraid, just like you guys, about what happens at the end of those 3 years.
So do we just, right now, move the fire department? 65,000 for social services?
You guys haven't motioned that yet, just so you know.
Correct.
Right.
Right, and I'm just saying. The 150 to 65 to 75. 200 for the community. We can hold off on that right now.
That, I think I would be more comfortable holding up for a couple of weeks on that, just because I want to have a well-defined program to put in front of the town.
And just going back to the library again, I just had my part. Never mind, it'll come back to me.
Do we give the library to 35 now? And then go back?
I think we can do that. That was what I was proposing for the fire department. So
Is their number one
it's
list?
their number 1 priority. It gets
Satisfy that.
Move forward on that. Maybe by the end of the summer, they've got some new circulation that's coming.
Oh, and I know what I was gonna say, when it comes to staffing in the library, a lot of these are this, for young adults and adults, that's an ongoing thing. That's, where social services and all that is more reactive to COVID. And some of those things might go away, thus those staffing positions won't be needed. These positions are gonna be positions that will go on. And probably will be asked, in my opinion, for budgetary increases or support for the years to come. And I don't know how long it would take them to, get the circulation desk going and all that kind of stuff. But if it's the number 1 priority, I would have a problem. First step, get them going on that, because like anything, who knows with supply chain shortages and all that kind of stuff, maybe they can get it going and
That's okay with me to do
And,
that.
and like a lot of things, who knows if that was the quote then, maybe say 40,000,
now.
Yeah.
40,000 for the,
Yeah.
media. So,
Yeah.
Well, how do you feel about the fire department? Are you good with the 135 or?
I think that's good. I think that's fine.
135?
What do you feel? We made most of one.
We did the 150, we moved
And
that.
I'm fine with that. I'm perfectly comfortable with it. I think it gets them what they need to meet right away for safety. It satisfies my interest in reducing our capital spending for this year. And
I just go back to the staffing at the library, and I believe the staffing positions will be ongoing. And, people have been bringing that up as after that 3-year program or whatever. It's those position or that position is probably one that's more likely to continue, not that it's not needed.
I think we talked about that with them when they came in. I'm not, did they come in? We spoke.
They
certainly
came in,
spoke.
yeah.
And I think we talked about that, and they said that they were, not that I'm defending it.
Yeah, right.
But my recollection was that they said that they would look for alternate sources of funding if the town was not capable of doing that. But it is for me, it almost equates to the same as the elementary. I will do everything I can to make sure that their programming over there continues to grow. At the same time as keeping the rest of the budget low. But that's an important part of the education process of the town. I think my point, I missed my point, it was a bad shot. My point being, taking programming away once it's there is difficult. Once it's established, it's very difficult. And if you can't take it away and you can't afford it, then something else has to suffer. And that's what I'm afraid of the library.
Well, and if we did do, like I said, we've got another 2 years from now, we get another kid. And it's an extremely tight budget thing, and then, the library, we gotta maybe cut somebody back and like I said, that staffing just seems more of a permanent staffing versus some of these other staffing things that we've had are more pandemic related, hopefully short-term related, depending on how the town and the community in the country goes with those type of things. So.
Well, interestingly enough, in their list of priorities, the staffing and programming really is the highest numbers on it. It goes right down. The staffing that we're talking about, to program extensions, to digital materials, and then outdoor programming. So.
Digital materials are long-term things, so you buy them and people will be using them for years. So I look at that more as a capital type of thing. So that's not really that wouldn't be an issue for me.
Well, they look at it as service, and I'm not sure, I don't quite understand.
Yeah, I guess it's just depending on what glasses you put on is working, but it's gonna be something that's there, whether it's digital or whatever.
That is a service thing, that it's an additional digital service that people can borrow things digitally over this group called Food Life. But
that's for people now and in perpetuity. It's going to be something that's there. It's not a physical circulation desk.
Right. No, it's something to go online and you can borrow digital content. Which I think my mother-in-law does. I certainly never tried that. So this is a good conversation for me, probably not to the folks watching this, but I like the idea of the 35 for the circulation desk, and then we can really make a call now is to say, okay, add an additional 15 for to use at their discretion.
$50,000
on any of these things that they've requested, or just come back to it to talk about it.
No, and then like they did open the door to say, well, if we can't get it tomorrow, we'll pursue other.
Yeah.
Well, no, they pursue the others.
Yeah.
There's only so much in this pie. And we're trying to give everybody, you know, a little slice of it if possible. And they get X percent of what they request, and like everybody has their, they'd love to have.
Well, I love the idea of helping make our library better.
Absolutely.
And they're there all the time, and their number one priority is the circulation list, so I think we focus on that. And then if we, I hate to use this language, it's probably not right, but if we pick a number that they can divvy up whatever their needs are in this list, it's okay with me if that's what we think, and then we'll see what the Board of Finance thinks.
We're at 151 right now, giving them 35,000.
Well, then,
With 151 giving them 35.
yeah,
Correct.
well, and for the,
And then you still have
There's,
Public Works.
Yeah.
Public Works,
yeah,
Planning and Zoning,
it's,
please.
you know, it's
Sanctuary.
the pie's only so big.
okay, I have some other thoughts that I need to formulate, but I'm gonna suggest, and you guys, I'm gonna suggest that we move forward with $45,000 for the library, 35 of which is been spent on the circulation desk. And then that leaves them an additional 10 that just about covers program extension and digital materials, which are the next highest priorities after staffing. And then we can talk to them further.
Right, no problem.
Talk to the community. And that leaves, you know, it leaves a little bit of room for the circulation desk if that goes a little bit over 35. So, if you're okay with that, I'll make a motion. Did you write it down?
Yeah, what was the 10 for, oh yeah, I wrote it down, the 10 was for whatever they choose?
No. For them to utilize towards the next two items. I mean, it's crazy for us to decide, so I think it would be for their choice, but we would recommend highly that they utilize that towards the next priorities on their list, which is program extension and digital materials.
You made a motion?
No,
I make the motion that we move forward $45,000 for the Deep River Library for circulation desk, and the remaining dollar amount to be prioritized by them on their priority list.
Did you want to recommend the program extension and digital?
program extension and digital materials.
Recommend program extension and digital, yes.
Good, any further discussion?
We didn't get a second.
I got a second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Okay. We're at 60 minutes. Do you wanna, let's kind of summarize where we are and say, okay,
Good idea.
where do we go through? What do we wanna move forward?
He's our number man.
Well, we started off with 666.
Yep.
We're taking out 150 for the fire department.
Mhm.
Brings it to 516.
Yep.
65 for social services. Brings it to 451. 75 for park and rec, summer concerts. Brings us to 386.
And then we get just at the library.
386 and then 45, right?
Yeah.
341.
And then we've got some other money, that we're feel pretty strongly about, we're just not ready to move it forward, and that falls underneath that, so, I think that's a good amount to move forward to the next meeting. Joyce, you had something to say?
Can some of the $75,000 for Parks and Rec, the music festival, be utilized for the arts and combine it?
I don't know, frankly, if you ask folks earlier, I don't think it can, if we dedicate it towards that, and that's what it's committed to. if they say we can't use it and we get it back, then we can, and that's happened in lots of communities where they assigned money towards something and didn't cost as much, so they had money back and now they've got additional
Right,
thoughts to what's put into it.
because it hasn't gone to,
Hasn't gone to town
it
yet.
hasn't gone to town meeting, so if
Right.
you wanted to revise it,
We have to do that here.
right, and go to Board of
at the Board of
Finance.
Finance.
Well, with that being said, but we have no idea what
The music festival.
what you would,
Right,
yeah. Because if we had an idea, you could take that 75 and add
Right,
X to it.
right,
well, I would suggest that we're, you know, probably at least another 75. But that's top of my head. We haven't gotten to that part yet. And then what we do depends on how much money we have to spend that, you know. So that's one of those difficult things, and I think I'll work hard with Brett, so we're able to come in and talk to you guys about it. As quickly as we can. I'm okay with what we have to do with where we are, and I think these are all good expenditures and they're important. We can, move them, if we have to move the other ones, all we've got right now, move the town meeting, the Parks and Rec and Fire.
Right.
And the last
and social services.
No, we made that motion to move it.
You, oh, yeah, you haven't motioned.
That's the only one we haven't done in social service. We've
The
done
library.
Park and Rec has.
Park and Rec already has.
That's in fire department.
And fire department.
Fire
So it's just the social service.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to move $55,000 for social services. For their programs.
I second that.
All those in favor? And that's it, right? Good.
I think we made a lot of progress.
Well, it was a good conversation.
A lot of good
It was good,
conversation,
important conversation.
Absolutely.
And, we'll see, we'll have more with the, Board of Finance next week. That's gonna be a busy meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless you guys have anything else you wanna talk about regarding ARPA, there's nothing else on the agenda, and I just assume, probably.
I make a motion that we adjourn at 7:41.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.